Tristen, what's going on, man?
Dude.
I don't know your last name.
Klaven.
Maybe you don't want that to be public knowledge. What's your last name?
Klavenga.
I'll never be able to spell. Klavenga.
Gay.
Klavenga.
You're the only Tristen I know, so it's pretty simple.
Be
That's
the only
true.
Tristen Klavenga you know now.
All right, cool. I will.
There's only one.
I will get that spelling when we get done.
Yeah.
And the other thing we haven't used in a long time, I thought I'd break it out just for
I
you.
knew this was coming.
I'm not going to use it. I'm not going to overuse it. But I think it's so cool. We have a little fog machine down here, and I think it looks neat.
Dude, I like
He
it.
hates the way it smells.
Well,
Really?
he'll just keep his foot on the
Dude,
button.
we'll fog it out down here.
Leave it. Yeah.
But to be fair, I haven't used it in a while. I don't know. Like I said, we're trying to go all in and
busted it out for
do
me.
all the special effects and everything that we can do. Yeah,
I want all the fog.
all the fog. Well, you're about to be in it here in a minute.
Sorry, Zach. All the fog.
Hey, it's going towards you, so.
I actually spent more time than I'm willing to admit trying to get it directed. Like I shot it under the table because I wanted it.
That
just
would
kinda
be horrible. Just that would suck.
But if you've ever seen, there's a podcast / show called Cold Ones, and I was trying to mimic them. They're like these Australian dudes.
Okay.
And if you ever get on YouTube and watch their setup, it's the coolest, and it was a huge inspiration for us building this down here. It's kind of a play on Hot Ones.
Yeah, I was
going
gonna
to
ask if it was
Cold
Hot Ones.
and they
Okay.
just drink beer, and they
Oh,
kind of
that's cute.
morphed into like a YouTube channel more than a podcast, but it started out as a podcast.
Well, they're
Okay.
both YouTubers originally.
Right. Matt Mofo.
Max
and
Mofo.
Max Mofo.
Oh, that kid.
Oh, the Pokemon guy.
dude.
Yeah.
He's
He's got 3 YouTube channels, and they all have over 1 million subscribers. And so
He's an OG too.
I'm familiar
he
now.
Came up
yeah.
on
So
YouTube.
he's got a podcast with another guy.
only for views.
Anything for views.
Anything for views. See, yeah.
And it's pretty funny. During the pandemic, I think they really got into just doing offbeat, gimmicky videos, and that's kind of their thing. If you go to listen to their Spotify or their Apple Podcast or Spotify, they haven't updated in a while. So, I don't know. Anyways, I don't know how we got on that. But Tristen,
Max
thanks for
Mofo.
coming. Yeah, Max
Thank
Mofo.
you.
Yeah, so lately we've been talking a lot about bikes and stuff, and kind of known you for a while. Obviously working at Mom's, like everybody knows who you are, and I knew you had a bike, and kind of got out and rode a little bit lately, and Cody and Nick and all those dudes and stuff, and it was interesting when I started messaging you right after I got mine running. You said that your original Sportster, was it a Sportster you had before the one you're riding now?
Yeah.
Actually got stolen out of your front yard.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. What was it and what happened?
So I actually bought that Sportster. It was one of the prototypes for, I think, the 93 to 95, or I don't know the year models, how they work.
Me neither. Yeah.
Dude, yeah. It's Ape Knuckles did a prototype for it. So he had a 95 Sportster. It was that nice cherry, burnt cherry red or whatever.
Yeah, I'll have to get you to send me a photo. I'll throw up on the screen. But
Yeah, absolutely. And he had it for a really good deal. And he's like, hey, man, listen, I just put this wiring kit on there. And this was before he was selling those wiring kits. He was just doing this for, I guess, homies, if I remember correctly. And, yeah, I had this old bike from Chris Mosley. Chris is in a band with Nick Brunson, if you're familiar with Brunson.
Is that Haste?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Haste.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Had those
Chris,
dudes on? Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what Chris is doing now. I think he's a doctor.
I haven't seen Nick in a long time. Probably since that podcast. Shout out to Nick Brunson.
Yeah, shout out to Nick Brunson. So Chris had this old, I guess this is where I probably should start. Chris had an old, it was a TR6R Triumph Tiger. It was a 72. It had sat at the shop for a long time. And every time you'd go into the old dojo, you'd see this just rusty, just rat rod chopper. And it was small. It looked like a little bicycle. But every time I'd go in there, I'd be like, dude, I want that bike. Because I've always wanted a Triumph. That was always my big thing was Triumphs. I thought they looked so cool. So I went in there, and I was with Ryan Grayson and I think Nick Resty. And me and Ryan walked in, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go talk to him. So I went up to him. I was like, how much does it, take to buy this bike? And Nick was like, I mean, it's not mine. It's Chris's. And so he gave me through the grapevine, just number to number. And, I kind of got in touch with Chris and kind of whittled him down. I think I bought it for $1,500 or $1,200. And it was sick. It was cool. Never ran.
Really?
Never ran. We did so much to it.
Really? Man.
So much. And that was the same thing with him. Apparently, it was in a stock frame. I saw pictures of it running, everything else, but they put a 750 big bore kit on it. And, I had it for maybe a year and a half, and I took it to so many different people. I called all these guys around town, and no one works on Triumphs. I think it was like maybe Max Motorsports or something like that, or Number One Motorsports.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know they're like an Indian dealership.
Yeah.
Do they sell Triumphs there?
I guess so. I think. I don't remember at this point. I don't even care. I don't like Triumphs
How long
anymore.
ago was that?
That was probably back in 2017.
Okay.
Maybe 2018.
I don't like Triumphs anymore.
I don't like Triumphs anymore. It's my British paperweight. But I had that bike, and I would hit up everybody, and I think the weird thing about it was no one under the age of 60 could help me out with a bike. No.
What was the year of the engine that was in it?
It was a 72.
72. Okay, so not super old. I mean, I know they go way back. But,
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the story would always go oh, well, I have a friend who has an uncle who has a friend who used to own a Triumph shop here up in Arab, and I'm sure he still has all those parts because no one fucking buys Triumphs. And so here I am with a Triumph chopper, completely worn out, just stripped down, bare bones, and finding parts for it was insane. So I finally found this place, I think in Iowa, and I called them on the phone. They had this dumb little landline, no cell phones, and I would start getting parts from them. And by the time that happened, we had a buddy named Bobby Bitterman, and Bobby, I guess he works on cars and stuff, but he was like, hey, I know this guy named Tim or something, but he has a buddy named John Spice. He's out in Tuscaloosa, and if you go there, ask him, and he'll probably get that bike running for you. So me and Ryan Grayson trailer my bike in the back of his Tacoma, and we take it up there, hanging out. And sure as the world, it's just this nice house down this really crappy dirt road. Looks like minefields are everywhere. And we get on this huge property, and it's just old man has this huge shed and gorgeous house. And we go into a shed, and it's got all these cool chopper tanks and a bunch of Triumphs everywhere. And we're like, dude, this is awesome. This is it. This is it.
Found it.
Man's 78.
He's going to have it running in a week.
Yeah. Flash forward, he did not. We were sitting there, and we're looking at the shed and looking at all these cars and all these tractors from the 50s. It was the dream. And he only had daughters. Never had any, sons. So all of his daughters weren't really into motorcycles. So he was kind of imprinting that onto me a little bit. Complete stranger. He was an amazing person. I haven't kept in touch with him since I got rid of the bike. Probably should give him a text or at least call him. But yeah, he took us in his basement even. And he's like, well, this is, you saw everything.
Well, he's nerding out. Just,
yeah.
Somebody's
Finally.
actually interested in all the bike stuff that he has, I guess. Yeah.
And he was like, oh, this ain't nothing. Come into the basement. This dude had a full-scale shop with lathes, machining tools, CNC machines and stuff.
Oh, that's
all
awesome.
in his basement.
Yeah.
And there was at least 6 to 7 complete bikes down there he was restoring, on top of 13 different motors just everywhere. And he had a Triumph Trident, which was a 3-cylinder. It was notorious for blowing up. If you over revved it, it would shoot like a piston out the case and
Oh my
blow
gosh.
people's toes off.
Shit.
And he's like, yeah, that's what happened to this guy. He was racing, over revved it, and then bam,
Dude, that's crazy.
say goodbye to your toes. But flash forward,
So this guy couldn't get your bike running?
no. So that was the catch. Back then, I was so tired of working on it that I was like, dude, I will pay you anything to work on this bike. And he's like, we're going to do it together. I was like, son of a bitch.
Okay.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to drive an hour back and forth just to work on a bike that I'm kind of not into anymore. So,
yeah, because you start to lose steam after so long. You know, a project just stagnates.
Yeah.
You're just like, whatever.
And it sucks, too, because, I mean, this bike was, I mean, like, super thin, paper thin. It was like a badass little lane splitter. I mean, the thing was like 230 pounds wet weight.
Wow.
Yeah, I see these pictures of dudes on Instagram, like, picking their bikes up and stuff, like light engine, smaller bikes. And
this was the bike to do it.
Just bike to do that, okay.
I mean, it was badass. It was real cool. But, I mean, we could not get it. I mean, when he was with us, we replaced, like, the push rods, did valve adjustments, did the top dead center.
Would it ever turn over or anything?
The only time I ever got it to turn over, which I don't even really technically think you would call it turning it over, we got it kicked over with some brake cleaner or carb cleaner with John Powers.
Ether, just blasting that in there.
Just shot way too much in there, like a nitrous shot. And John Powers and I got it to kind of explode.
Okay.
Kind of got it to do something that a combustion engine does. So I think that might have messed it up.
Maybe
I think that's
done
what
more damage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I mean, all the push rods were completely destroyed. But after we had it at John's for about 3 months, I was like, all right, it's time. This is like a 78-year-old man. I'm losing steam. I don't like this. And Ape Knuckles comes to the shop. He's like, yeah, I might have a Sportster for sale soon if you want to get that. And everyone was like, dude, ditch the Triumph, get a Harley. And I was like, I don't really want to. And they're like, ditch Triumph, get a Harley. And I was like, all right. So we get the Triumph back to the shop, and there's a dojo party happening right around that time.
Okay.
And I remember I had the Triumph in the back.
Oh, so you took it back? I thought maybe you would have just sold it to the dude and said, hey, keep it. Or
He didn't want it.
He didn't want it.
He didn't want it.
Okay.
I was like, hell yeah, I don't either. So
It's going back up on the wall.
So, gave a good handshake to Mr. Spite, which I probably have like maybe one picture of him and I. It was like bittersweet because he was like, man, this sucks. You guys didn't do anything to this bike. And that was kind of me and Ryan's thing too. We're like, man, this sucks. You didn't do anything to this bike. Like, I thought you would kind of like fix it up. But I mean, I didn't want that guy just to like work on it himself. That was the magic of it, is doing it yourself too. And he did teach me a lot of useful knowledge.
That you'll apply if you ever get
another Triumph.
Okay.
Well, that's kind of down the road. I really do want another one. I have dreams about that bike still.
Yeah,
But
I'd like to see a picture of it or something. I don't know a lot about bikes in general, especially not Triumphs. So,
dude,
yeah,
well, I mean, they're cool because it's like right foot shift, left foot brake. So it's kind of like those. Yeah.
Are you serious? Are they all like that?
Yeah. Well, I guess until they got older, like an American.
Oh, okay.
Or
Man,
like
I didn't know that at all.
Whenever Americans got a hold of them,
they're like, oh no.
Yeah. Let's take this shit back. Because like even Ironheads, like Harley Ironheads, they have right foot shift.
Really?
Yeah. Weird.
I didn't know that at all.
Mm-hmm.
That would be weird to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
Right foot shifting. I guess you get used to it with anything. But okay,
I mean,
so you take the Triumph back. Dojo party's going on.
Yep. And I make this nice little crude sign that was just like, for sale. Take me. For a steal of a deal. No one wanted it. Everyone would look at it, ask about it. It was one of those like tire kicker situations because people would walk up. It looked cool, and then they like get like 2 seconds closer, and they're like, "Fuck that."
Yeah, dude.
I was like, "Come on, dude.
You gotta know. You gotta pick your battles."
Yeah.
I guess,
I mean, I will sell this bike to you, and give you beer and everything else. I'll do anything for you.
Load it in the truck.
Anything.
Yeah.
I could not get rid of it. It was just a lingering pickle. So finally, I put it on Facebook Marketplace, and then within that time, I made this and a chopper swapper post too, and you get those guys that are like, that's way too much fucking money for a bike.
And all that.
And then I had this one dude from Tennessee that was stoked. He's like, I've always wanted a TR6R Triumph Tiger from the 72s. And I was like,
oh, that's his
hell
dream
yeah.
bike. Yeah, wow.
I was like, dude, take it. The only thing I liked about it was I was going to name it Snot, like short for like Super Knot, because 1972. Volume 4 by Black Sabbath came out.
It's pretty good.
Dude, I loved it.
It's pretty good.
Favorite song on the album? Snot. Still want to name a bike Snot, but has to be
you still
72.
can.
Got to be a 72 bike. But he got it, bought it, badass. Awesome.
Did he get it running? Did you ever follow up?
Yeah, I'll have to send you. I didn't even send you that. Yeah, this dude's like critters it gets. And yeah, he I think the only thing that was wrong with it was like an oil pump.
Okay, so he solved the mystery. And
Yeah.
actually got it going.
Man, you just need a new spark plug. Done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, dude. New
Still.
starter.
Yeah.
Like something so simple.
And I mean, it sucked because I put so much money into it. Like I bought an anti-gravity battery. I don't know if you're familiar with anti-gravities.
I've heard that term, but for anybody listening, my knowledge of engines and motorcycles is growing, but it's very limited. So I learn something new every podcast, especially now that we've started talking about motorcycles more. So
I mean, dude, this is one to take down. They're really cool. Apparently, they're notorious sometimes for blowing up. That's what I always heard. They're
small
lithium.
price to pay.
So they I guess the battery's hemorrhage, so don't put it in too tight and like those crazy bolt down. They give you.
Just gotta give it some room to breathe. I guess.
Yeah,
Okay.
give her a little air.
Give her a little air.
Like I hear horror stories of guys just having to unbolt it and then just take their battery and just chunk it in the woods before it blows up.
Shit.
But I mean, so I bought that kind of battery for it, like a 6-volt
What's
system.
What's the perk of using a battery?
Apparently, they never die.
Okay. So more shelf life, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't figure that out because I just kept trying to kick over the bike over and over and over and over and over again. So that's draining it, and it's not ever charging the battery because the bike's never fucking running. But yeah, he got it running. Something to do with an oil pump. I don't really believe him, but it is running. There's
Put a
video
whole new engine in
footage.
it, just didn't tell you.
Yeah. I mean, video footage of it running. I mean, it had some really cool parts, too. I feel like I should delve into that, but I mean, we're getting to the Harley. That's the cool stuff, but it had a badass, like, Unity, like, spotlight light, which is, like, kind of cool. That's that chopper gold right there.
Okay, so Ape is going to hook you up with a
Sportster.
And he's done, we got to give a plug to Gremlin Wiring.
Exactly.
Because,
Dude, cheers to Gremlin
He was
Wiring.
actually the last one that we recorded, and so, yeah, talking with him was really cool about how he started his company and stuff. And so I guess you were one of the prototypes.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to start doing these wiring kits. Let me
Yeah.
put one on for you.
Well, I was kind of like, I mean, I wasn't necessarily apprehensive about it, but I mean, I just didn't know. I didn't know anything about wiring
But I guess
harnesses.
this was his bike that he already had that he
Yeah.
was doing it to, and then was selling it.
Yeah.
So you came into the picture at the right time, I guess.
I did. Dude, yeah, it was awesome. It was the perfect bike for me.
Sportsters are incredibly popular. Was this an Ironhead Sportster?
No, it was an Evo.
Evo, okay.
He had told
maybe
me.
you said the years earlier. I forgot.
Oh, it don't matter.
What year
It was
90 or something.
yeah, it was a 95. That was my birth year. So I've always wanted a birth year bike. But flash forward, sell the Triumph. Thank God, the British paperweight is gone. And then yeah, Ape Knuckles. He actually let me do a lump sum, and then I just made payments. I was working at Saturn at the time, so I was like, and also that was my first vehicle ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Growing up, I was growing up poor. Me and my mom were bouncing from house to house, and we never really had a place to stay. So my brother actually sold my mom her truck, sold my mom her truck that she had because it was his truck. It was a badass Nissan Frontier that was yellow.
Oh, yeah.
Had like a
Familiar.
Ralph Wiggum little decal on the back picking his nose.
Dude.
Coolest truck. Simpson yellow. And when I guess I should dial it back to that even, because that's kind of what got me into motorcycles in the first place.
I was about to say, was the Triumph, once you would have got it going, would that have been your first,
Yeah.
not only motorcycle, but first set of
Vehicle ever.
wheels, period?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
So I should probably even dial it back further, because growing up, my dad, he was a big motorcycle guy. He was ex-military, and he would always have Terminator 2 on all the time.
Classic, dude.
To the point where I think I still hate the movie.
Oh, well, I hate that.
Yeah.
That had a wrong impact.
Yeah, I'm
on
sorry.
you.
I'm sorry to everyone that loves
is
Terminator 2.
that-
Well, see, that was like the movie that intrigued me about motorcycles. Which is, I mean, I know, I
Well,
told...
the scene in the beginning where
Yeah, dude.
Chopper jumps off the building. When was the last time you watched that?
It's as a child.
Been a minute.
Since we bought it on the VHS.
Dude, it still stands the test of time, dude. I don't think we have Terminator 2 up there anywhere. We need to update
We do
our
not have
VHS
T2
collection, man. Yeah. Anyways.
Dude, that's blasphemy. I mean, now Nick will tell you, like Nick Resty will tell you, like, Terminator 2, hell yeah, fat boy.
Yeah.
I just didn't like it. My dad was super into, like, who's the guy that sings that song? Thorogood? The Bad to the Bone?
Bad to the bone.
Yeah, James or Dave or something Thorogood.
Bob.
But, yeah.
Something.
That's probably it, Bob.
I don't know. I'm guessing. That's not right, I'm sure.
Okay, so getting back on track because I love to spread this out.
I can see.
Yeah. But then there's a lot of history too, because like growing up, gave my mom her truck because my brother was like, "Hey, mom needs a car. I'm getting a new one. Give it to her." So I remember we were living at a lady's house, and my mom was like the help, kind of was. She called it a secretary, but really we were just cleaning up house and stuff. So I was kind of like an Arab Harry Potter living in someone's basement.
Did you have a bedroom under the stairs?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, okay.
This lady we lived with, she had a big ass basement, and she didn't really have family over all the time. But when they did, I would sleep in a workout room on an inflatable bed. My mom had the office with all the dogs. It was weird, man, but it was cool because it was like a 3-story mansion, huge. Had the pool, so like as any high schooler does, have a bunch of friends over, pool parties.
Dude,
that's how I met like
awesome, man.
all the guys in the scene. Was like going to the forge and stuff like that. They'd always come over to my house and be like, "Dude, Tristan's loaded.
Dude,
He's got the pool,
He's
yeah.
got the mansion, yeah.
Dude, he's like rich as hell." And I was like, "I'm actually not. I'm living in this workout room."
If you only knew
Yeah.
the situation.
I have the elliptical right beside me, the Stairmaster. Feel free to use the
Probably
Stairmaster.
ripped as hell, though, I bet.
Dude, hell yeah, I had a
Working out.
Bowflex.
Yeah, dude. I sleep on a Bowflex. What you
Yeah,
talking about?
baby.
I'm pressing in my sleep.
Dude, it was awesome. It was best. I mean, it was awesome. I was blessed to grow up like that because I don't know, I just grew up different.
Yeah.
I did not like, well, that being said, it was this really long road with like 3 different cul-de-sacs and like 3 different turnaround points at any time. So there was a cul-de-sac right before you hit the end cul-de-sac, and that's where she lived in. She lived up this really tall hill. You can actually see this house from the summit.
Wow.
If you're at like Chewy's, enjoying a nice little like quesadilla or something, you can see
Tristan
that
grew up.
house.
Okay.
Yeah. And dude, that's like, I mean, I lived there for about 8 years, and then shit went south. But yeah, I would drive my mom's truck or my brother's truck to the cul-de-sac, and I'd go back, and I'd have the windows down. I was like 18 or 17 even, and dude, I hated it. Could not stand it. I'd just like get cold sweats, like gripping the steering wheel.
Just
no one
driving.
else is on the road. Yeah, just driving.
Just driving, okay.
And I was like, if the music was up, crank that shit
Man, I'm
down.
the same way. I can't think if the music's up.
Dude,
Turn
I
the
can't
music down
see.
so I can see better. I
Yep.
can't see.
I cannot
see.
see.
Through this noise.
And
You're not
so
alone.
that was the thing, was like, I realized, I was like, man, this may not be for me, because I was so fucking stressed out all the time driving cars. And after that, my mom, something happened at the house, and we had to move. And my mom was like, hey, my friend is out in Columbiana, and she has this old like camper truck that's broken down. We're gonna go live in that. And I was like, Mom,
Man, it's heavy.
there's no running water. It's a fucking camper truck. No, I'm dropping out of high school. So drop out of high school. I'm like, Mom, take the truck.
How old are you at this point?
I'd say probably about 17, 18.
17, 18. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn, dude, that's kind of heavy, man. Like having to deal with that, and that's an intense situation a little bit, you know.
Yeah, I mean, motorcycles were like, it was a weird thing because like my dad was really into motorcycles. My dad, he was a pretty bad dude, but growing up, he taught me a whole lot of stuff, and it was almost like a rebellion thing.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't want to be anything like my dad. Like, what's ironic? He's like tattooed up. Chopper dude.
A little bit of a strained relationship there. I
Yeah,
sense a little
100%.
bit. Okay.
Yeah, because I didn't talk to him until, I mean, we left him when I was about 5 or maybe 7. I can't really remember. Then we moved to Alabama, and then ever since then we.
Where are you originally from?
I was born in Arab, Gunnersville.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So
So in the state, just not in like I guess around Birmingham. or
not
anything.
central.
Yeah.
Dude, I was growing up on that
Backwoods,
Gunnersville
man.
River.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. So I mean, we moved from Arab or Gunnersville area. I lived in Albertville, but I was way too young to even really remember that. I remember jumping off the dock and seeing the Gunnersville Lake Gunnersville water. That's like a vivid memory, but I don't remember much after that.
I've spent a lot of time on Lake Gunnersville. I've seen it. It's a beautiful lake, but yeah, haven't been fortunate enough to go check it out. Okay, so fast forward. So drop out of high school.
Yeah.
And what happens next?
So after I dropped out of high school, I gave my mom the truck. And I was like, take the truck. You're going to need it. I'm going to move to Birmingham because I'd already been down here plenty of times for the Forge, going to like Zydeco and going to like Cave 9. Actually only went to like 2 Cave 9 shows. And
Dude,
I never
RIP,
made it to
man.
Cave 9.
Cave 9 was
Firehouse was like
shit.
where we went. Firehouse was like after the Forge. You go to the firehouse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we've got an age difference. We're about 5 years apart, so Cave 9 was a little bit older.
Yeah.
We had Aaron on, and a little plug for anybody out
Yeah.
there. We just keep referencing other people we've had on our list. So if you're joining us for the first time, check out. I think it was Sanctum. He's a tattooer there, but he was like one of the main guys that kind of got that venue going.
insane.
You know, he's got a picture on the wall at Saturn. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
The Wall of Fame.
The Wall of Fame.
I was like, what? So
He deserves
very
it.
influential dude. Yeah.
I still need to get a Star Wars tattoo from Aaron at Sanctum Comics.
My wife has been tattooed by
tattoos.
him, but I haven't made the time to go get tattooed by him. So I'm gonna make that happen soon. Where are we?
Yeah,
Keep
dude,
derailing.
I love derailing everybody.
Yeah, I know.
But I dropped out.
Okay.
And I moved in with some buddies that I met through shows. So it was my buddy Connor Benson and Matt Hart. Connor broke his elbow at like a ceremony show at the firehouse.
Damn.
So good people to be around. It was awesome. So dropped out of high school. No gods, no masters, no teachers, no diplomas. Got that. Fucking just went straight for my GED. Learned a whole lot more. But moved in with them, and I got a bicycle. And I was like, hell yeah, this rules. Because I could bicycle everywhere in the city.
Yeah.
And then I think winter rolled around. I was like, this sucks. Like, this sucks. This is my only mode of transportation. Too cold. Hate this.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool if they had something with a motor on it. So my buddy Matt had this like lawnmower motor he bought on like Amazon and tried to like, mutate it into this bicycle, like a Schwinn Varsity or something like that. And I was like, dude, this sucks. Let's get into motorcycles.
Pulling the ripcord or whatever.
Yeah. And he bought an old, like a CB something. They make so many of them. And, that's kind of where it started, was Matt buying all these bikes. And so I rode my Matt's CB a few times. We had our buddy Josiah, who also rides around. I think he had like a Yamaha Virago or something like that.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of what like really
Fueled it. It's like
Fueled
dude,
it.
Motorcycle, man.
I was like, yeah, I was really rebellious because I was like, I don't want to be anything like my dad. He's a piece of trash. And like, he kind of like messed up my life forever. And then I kind of just like did a whole lot of, thinking about it. And I was like, dude, these are really fun. And I hate cars. That was it. So flash forward, that's what kind of, was a whole lot of stuff with me. Was it almost feels, when I'd have panic attacks or something like that, I'd go on the bicycle. If I need to get out of my head, go on the bicycle. Even if it was cold, go on the bicycle. So like that kind of just moved over to motorcycles for me. And it's cool because, like, got the motor, you have so much to fit, like, pay attention to. But then also, nothing's there, if that makes sense. Like, there's no thoughts. Even though you're thinking about the cars and what they're going to be doing and the road and the potholes and stuff like that, or am I going too fast? Am I messing up this motor? When I get on a motorcycle, it's just no thoughts. It just felt natural.
It's hard to describe. It
Yeah.
is like a feeling of like you're so much more in tune. Like people say, well, I can go see the country in a car. Like, why would I want to do it on a motorcycle? And I give a lot of credit to, I think his name's John Bluebaugh. He does the
Blue Todd.
Blue Todd. Is his first name John, or am I messing that up?
I
Or
don't
Todd.
know.
It's Todd.
Todd
Bluebaugh. Anyways, so I think he sums it up pretty well. I've listened to some of his earlier recordings, and man, it's just like the way he speaks about what it feels like to ride a motorcycle. I would do no justice trying to replicate what he says.
Yeah.
But man, he sums it up so well. It's like if you're not seeing the world through like riding a motorcycle, or like, you know, going to some destination, or just seeing this country in that way, you're missing something.
100%, yeah.
Know? And even just like riding around here, you know, just like in our own little, you know, through Birmingham downtown, like streets I've been down a million times. It's like you just see everything differently.
Dude, going to Dollar General never felt so therapeutic.
Dude, it's crazy. Like just running to the store and coming back. It's like so much more fun.
It sounds like a joke, but I mean, seriously. I mean, it's, you know, it's super. I wouldn't say like.
Let's get spiritual about it. You know what I mean? Like it's like
let's get spiritual biker.
Yeah, dude.
But I mean, dude, it's like road therapy. That's
really
what they call
Especially
it.
On,
Knees
like, long
in the
trips
breeze.
And stuff. Knees in the breeze. Yeah.
Dude, but it's awesome. That was the one time where I could just shut up in my head and then hop on and just, you know, no thoughts. And it was crazy because I'm super hypochondriac and freaked out all the time, have super bad anxiety. But when I was on a bike, I don't care about dying. I don't care about wrecking. I just care about getting from point A to point B.
Hopefully that never happens, but yes.
Yeah, knock on wood.
Yeah.
Dude, live last or drive fast, die last. Something like that. Is that what they say?
Live slow, die whenever. That's mine.
Okay, yeah.
The sloth.
But yeah.
So obviously bikes start playing a bigger role in your life. Bicycles, and then you get into. I'd be curious to see a photo of the modded out lawnmower bike.
Dude, I'll see if Matt can send them to me.
That's pretty funny. That's dedication, man. You had good friends, man, trying to help you out.
Seriously,
get you some wheels.
I went from couch surfing to owning a bike pretty quickly. You know, I couch surfed for a long time, and I lived in like the living room and stuff like that. And then I was like, I want to make a change. So that's flash forward, get a better job, keep moving up, because I never wanted to be service industry. But you know, I just did really well at it. Made a lot of money at Saturn. Thank you so much, Brian Teasley.
Shout out, Brian.
But dude, yeah, it was I think 2018 or 2019 is when I bought my Sportster.
Okay.
That's where we get all into play with us.
Roundabout back.
Roundabout.
With Abe Knuckles has got a Sportster for sale.
Yep.
And you were like, right time, right place for the Sportster.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was like, dude, I'm ready to join that Harley gang.
So this was your first, not only, dang, that's crazy. First set of wheels, first motorcycle.
Yeah.
I guess you had ridden a few times up to that point, but wow, yeah. So what was it like when you finally sealed the deal and got the bike in your hands?
I was terrified. Dude, I was absolutely terrified. It was funny because, like, I'd driven cars. I was the DD for, like, everybody. They get wasted, and I'll drive their truck, like, all granny style, like, push the seat up to, like, my goddamn chest.
Damn, dude, I got to be right on it, bro.
Dude, T-Rex arm my way back home. But, like, you know, I got that bike, and I was like, well, what am I going to do? It's probably going to, like, shoot out from under me. And it was funny because before that, without a shadow of a doubt, no hesitation, I hopped on John Spite's Triumph that he had. And that's a completely different bike. You're, like, shifting on the right and that. I'm just, like, zooming it around. I was like, dude, I can do it. It. Hopped on it, no problem. But I got on this bike. I was like, dude, okay, I'm going to ruin this thing somehow. I'm going to wreck it, lay it down, destroy it. And I was scared. I was like, if I, like, let go, am I going to wheelie? So I spent probably 30 minutes in front of the old dojo just taking off. I'd let out the clutch and then stop and stall and stall. And, dude, just stall. And finally, Ryan Grayson, which is a great guy. He'd be awesome to have on the show. But Ryan was like, dude, don't think about it. Just burn it. And I was like, fuck yeah. So, dude, once I got started, just went. And I couldn't get off of it. I was like, hell yeah, this is true freedom. Because I didn't have a way to get around town. I was always depending on rides and stuff, and I was like, dude, I'm going. So that's how it started. I had that, and for a long time, I kept it pretty stock, just kind of figuring out what I liked and stuff like that. I always wanted a chopper, but I had no idea where to begin. It's a swing arm bike.
Same. Oh, dude, yeah.
Dude, because there's so many components. There's so many things you're looking at. I mean, like, there's bolts just to keep bolts in place type stuff. And I didn't know where to go. So I was like, okay, well, I think what really helped was just kind of looking at the guys' bikes. And, like, Meeks has a really cool swing arm chop. It's just, like, super up in the air. I mean, the dude's, like, looking up at the sky. Like,
Dude,
looking
I haven't
over.
seen his bike. Yeah, I'd love to see that. That'd be cool.
That kind of inspired me, and I kind of got lost in the chopper sauce for a second, because like a lot of sportsters, you see a lot of dudes like doing goofy stuff to them. I mean, like if they just kind of like, there's a such thing as chopper feng shui that I had to learn real quick.
Okay.
And like obviously do whatever you want. Like I mean, I have no room to talk about this. My first bike was a Sportster. The girl bike, deluxe is how they like to describe it.
I mean, my first bike was a Honda Shadow, and then I saw, shout out to Austin. We had him on, and his Shadow is probably hands down the coolest Shadow I've ever seen. And so it was just like, wow, like you can do cool stuff with anything. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
And see, for me, like Sportsters, I mean, I have the Sportster tattoo.
Yeah.
Sportsters to me I'm like, it's like, hell yeah, it's my first bike.
Well, I think Ape Knuckles said it was the working man's bike.
100%.
He's like, this is just like, and you go on TC Bros or Lowbrow or any of those guys, and it's just like Sportsters, parts galore.
Dude, they're awesome. They're bulletproof.
Awesome. They're everywhere. They're affordable. They're reliable. It's hard to beat, man. Yeah.
So I mean, like, that was for me. I kind of learned everything on the Sportster, and looking at all these.
But were you ever like mechanically inclined? I know you weren't super into cars. Okay.
Hell no, dude.
So we have a very similar background because that's the same thing. I look back on like, I don't know if you ever had the opportunity, but like a buddy of mine, shout out to Nick Willis. He took shop class and stuff. We went to high school together, and I never did any of that. And it wasn't until I'm in my 30s where I'm like looking back, it's like, dude, I wish I knew how to weld. I wish I knew how to like do stuff. I wish I knew about engines. Like I don't know anything. You know what I mean,
dude?
And now suddenly, like the whole world has been opened up to us. So I'm like a child.
Yeah,
dude, I just learned how a carburetor works for the first time. Like I never do that. Yeah. So
I mean, dude, I made some good grades in home ec. But I never had shop class.
Home ec, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they trusted me with the power tools to make like birdhouses and stuff. Yeah. But I did it. I made it work. But
so you just started wrenching on your Sportster, I guess.
Yeah. And it was funny because Nick, Nick said it best. I brought it in. I forget what I needed to work on. And I looked at him and I was like, well, how do I do this? He kind of sits there and looks and he's like, well, you need to do this, this, and this, and this. And I was like, cool. When I was about to hand him the tool, and he goes, fuck no, dog. Like, you do it. And I was like, oh, shit, this is what I'm doing now.
What if I mess it up?
Yeah, what if I mess it up? That's a big thing. I was so scared to, like, destroy my baby. It was my first thing I was really proud of. So,
sure.
Flash forward. I got my bike to where I wanted it. It went through a whole lot of phases. I kind of put some dumb stuff on it. And
I got a whole story about dumb stuff. Yeah, but keep going.
It was just goofy, and I was like, okay, I'm going to get it to where I want it. So I started kind of really just seeing what the guys did. Dwayne, I love Dwayne's style. I love Nick's style. Turner has a really cool Sportster chop. And I kind of realized, I was like, well, I don't really want to do a far, like, over, like, crazy extended front end.
Like kind of keep it over,
yeah.
Like the long bike look, yeah.
No, not Cody. Okay. Cody's bike, that's his dream.
Dude.
It's like, dude.
That's my dream.
I've
already talked about that, but
I want a lazy boy.
Dude, I love that bike. Yes. Dude. I want to be lean back. Dude, Captain America, Easy Rider style.
Yeah, dude. Well, it's like, you need like a CDL just to drive that thing around the corner. Like, I couldn't do it. But, I'm a little guy. Little guys, little Sportsters. That's where it's at. I love them.
I feel that, yeah.
But then, flash forward, get my bike to where it is, and it was all through help of the guys at the shop. Like finally I had gotten the Sportster about to where I needed it to be, and or wanted it to be, and put some like T-bars on it, had no controls, nothing like that, and I think I had a 4-over front end on it. And I started looking at it, and I was like, dude, I kind of want to just like,
You still rocking the swing arm?
yeah.
At that point? Okay.
So that's what I was about to get to. Is I looked at it, and I was like, man, this is cool looking, but it needs more chrome. So I started just getting obsessed with chrome. I was like, I'm gonna have a period correct 1995 Sportster with all chrome parts. So I got like a chrome swing arm, chrome oil tank, chrome lines, just did everything aside from chroming the motor. And I was like, all right, this is it. And then I took it to Harley, spent about a month in the shop there. And then that's when it was stolen. It was in my front yard. Full shout out, lock up your bikes. I never did that. Ape Knuckles all the time was like, dude, lock up your bike. At least a chain will stop people. Mm-hmm. But put something there to deter them. And I was like, nah, fuck that. And he's like, just put like a
you can put a padlock on
yeah,
the handlebars or something, yeah.
And I was like, oh, it never happened to me. And of course, happened to me. Damn. And it was funny because I actually, I put a new insurance policy on the bike right as Zach's bike was stolen. And that's the only thing that saved my ass.
I don't know Zach. Who's Zach?
So Zach Sims, he's over at the shop as well. He has, you've probably seen his spot there.
Okay.
But Zach is a good buddy too at the shop. Zach Sims, I think Excited Zach was his name on Instagram for a long time. But
I think Loaf posted something about a dude getting his bike stolen from Highlands. Was that the same?
That was it.
That was him?
Yep,
okay.
that was it. And I was like, hell yeah. I gotta get this insured. And that's the only thing that saved my ass.
So what I've always been curious, like, what are people getting out of a bike when they steal a bike? What are they doing? I mean, there's not like, I know like with cars and stuff and Grand Theft Auto and all that, it's like they're chopping it down, splitting it out, anything that doesn't have a VIN number.
You throw it on a truck, send it out of state.
Yeah.
But it's like, is there really a black market for like little Sportster, $3,000
motorcycles?
motorcycles?
Anything, Alex.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just.
Well, it's weird because like
understood it.
You take a motorcycle that I had bought for maybe I think it was $3,000 or $3,500, and then I put about maybe $4,000 in like total, and the whole bike. But you never get what you put into it.
Sure,
that's a huge thing.
I mean, the bike was probably worth what, $5,000 at the
I would
most?
say so.
Yeah.
I would have sold it for like $5,000, 55 maybe. But if I ever thought about it, and then. Now I'm assuming those guys probably made like $1,000 off of it, which is crazy.
Damn.
So when they stole it, were you living in the place you're currently at now?
Yeah.
So you're right across, for anybody that doesn't know Tristen, which is a few people out there. You're a man about town. You know a lot of people.
I guess so.
You live across from the Avondale.
Well, don't dox him.
Well, he's got a safe is in the back. Well, anyways,
You'll
live in
see.
Avondale.
Yep.
You live close to the park. I won't say exactly.
Yeah.
But
if you have eyes, you'll see me.
you'll see it. You had your bike in the front yard, and then what happened? They just came up and rolled it out of the yard and put it on a truck, or they cranked it up and rode off with it? What did they do?
I forget what we were doing that night. I think I was off work, and I was hanging out. I think there was hockey, and it was me, Nick Willis, Sam Eastman, Cody, my roommate, Cody Tippins, big ass truck. We were all hanging out, went to like Taco More Loco. We were getting some drinks. It was fun. We went to Mom's, and I didn't ride the bike. Or maybe I did. I can't remember. I got drunk. But I remember I got to the house, and Sam was on the front porch with me, and I was just smoking cigarettes. We're hanging out. Hung out for about an hour. He's a best friend of mine, long-standing friend of mine. Also bartends at Mom's with Connor. But so we're hanging out, and he was about to leave. I was like, cool. So I'm going into the living room, and Cody's asleep right at the window where the bike backs up into. And I remember I heard some noises and I saw the cats doing some weird stuff and like looking at the windows. And I was like, I'm not thinking anything of it, but nothing crazy, nothing like loud. And usually they're pretty nosy. They'll stick their head out the window for everything, but they're acting kind of weird. And I was like, huh. So it started getting, I was just way too quiet, like way too quiet. And I run outside, and sure as you know, I saw a trailer going up the street, and I was in my underwear. And I saw the bike getting hauled off, and I was like,
so it was on a
son
trailer.
of a bitch. Yeah.
Fuck.
Or I really, like when I saw it, I could only see the taillights, but it looked like it was on a trailer. Looked like, because they were at that point, they were past the trees. But I was like, okay, that has to be a trailer. It sounded like a trailer, because they hit a bump, and then it was just rattling around. I'm sure they just took the bike and laid it on its side and then just gunned it. So I saw it and I was like, fuck. So run outside, or run to Cody. I'm like, we got to get up now. So we just drive around, and rest is history. It was
damn.
Yeah, it sucked, man, because a lot of people that don't get it, at this point at least, I had gotten a car. At that point I had gotten a really nice Toyota Tacoma from Boozer built. Boozer had helped me out, led me to a friend who sold me a really nice car really fast and really cheap a year before the bike getting stolen, or maybe 2 years. But
so you had wheels.
I had wheels, so it wasn't super detrimental. But it sucked. It was that was my preferred mode of transportation. So yeah, it was, we looked around. I called a whole lot of buddies. We kind of tried to find it, and there was talks that it was probably already in Louisiana in pieces. So I was like, all right, well, time to go from the ground up again. So
so luckily you had taken out, you said you mentioned the insurance claim. Did they give you any flack about reimbursing you or
a lot? Yeah, it took about a year.
Wow.
Took about a year.
You have to go through all the right channels, do a police report, the whole nine.
Yeah, it was a pain in the ass. I actually still to this day have not talked to my Birmingham PD detective, vehicle theft detective. I've left her maybe 12 calls. Never heard from her once.
Dang. I'm sure she's swamped. No telling how many people.
Oh yeah, 100%.
We've had some cars get stolen. Cars stolen out from front of our shop. It's just nuts. Right there in Lakeview, man.
Dude, yeah. They love doing it. And I actually had to talk to a buddy. He was an old coworker with me. He did the door at Paramount, and he worked homicide. So he was a homicide detective. And I was like, hey man, listen, I can't get a hold of my detective to save my life. And that's kind of a huge thing. Your detective needs to talk to insurance. And he's like, I'll help you out. So he sent me over a guy that did arson. And he's like, here, I'll help you out. I'll send you in the right directions. I can't do everything your theft detective's going to do, but I can at least help you out. So got that. And I think after we got it all sorted out, I think I got the first offer was $2,600 for the bike. And I was like, whoa. Whoa, this is what I'm dealing with. So about 6 months in, we go back and forth about it. She's like, all right, you want to do $2,800? I was like, hell
$200?
Yeah.
What?
So finally she's like, all right, if you can get all your receipts together, maybe we can work something out. I was like, all right, cool.
Trying to prove all the work that you put into
exactly.
the bike. They're just looking at what Kelly Blue Book, I guess. So, yeah.
Yeah, and they actually took $1,000 off my bike because it wasn't blue. And I was like, you sons of bitches.
What, it was
on.
registered as a blue motorcycle?
No, so in Kelly Blue Book, there's desirable colors. And each color and model of your motorcycle changes.
Yours is red, right?
Mine was red.
Red's the worst one.
Apparently.
I've even asked people about that. I think I asked a guy when I was getting my driver's license. I was like, I've always heard this urban myth. Is it true that red vehicles are harder to insure than other colors? And he's like, yes, absolutely. I was like, why? And he's like, for whatever reason, they're more prone to theft. So I guess that you're a living example.
I'm the
if it's
the
red, I'm
statute of
stealing
theft.
that shit. Yeah.
Dude, yeah. Well, hell yeah, I guess I...
Day-Day's car was red. They stole it.
Stole it? Oh,
Yeah.
dude.
David's little hatchback was red. Still lit.
Fuck.
All right.
All right. Don't have red.
That's crazy.
Red sucks.
Yes.
Anybody watching this should paint their car black now.
Yes.
Also, it's just badass because it's black. But,
dude, well, I guess that's a.
I guess
I realized that was the. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I kind of put that together. That's crazy.
I didn't know that. So yeah, they finally. I put in all the receipts I had from Loaf. Shout out Loaf. He has done so much to that bike, along with everybody at the shop. But Loaf was the one that helped me out the most with just, doing stuff I didn't feel like doing or stuff I didn't know about doing.
Sure.
Great guy. Did a lot of help for me. And I finally got all those receipts in. I think they're like, hey, we'll give you like $3,000, like $3,098. And she called me, and that's when she's like, this is the number. I was like, cool, I'll do it. And she's really?
They just wrote you a check.
Yep. I was like, all right, I'll take the bite. Because Stuart, that does door at Mom's, he was a master tech at Harley. And that's who I took the bike to. Like, I had it at Harley for about a month. And he had done, like, everything. I mean, that bike
right
was
after
essentially...
that's when it got stolen.
Yep.
Golly.
Dude.
And it sucks because I had sold my truck before or maybe after that. I think I sold
you
my
said when
truck
it got
after
stolen, you still had some wheels. So
Yeah.
maybe
I
still
can't.
had your truck after that. I don't know.
I can't remember the timeline, but I sold my Tacoma. It was giving me a lot of problems. It was like a money pit. So I sold it for a pretty fair price. I can't remember if I had the motorcycle at that time. No, I did. So this is a fucked up part about it. So I still had my truck. And when I was selling it, it was in February, I believe. And I was picking up a F-150 in North Georgia. And I actually had to work that night at Mom's. So I went up to North Georgia. It's like storming and shit. Found this really cool Ford F-150 because I needed something with four-wheel drive for the park when I was park rangering at Turkey Creek. And so I make it back home, and I'm in Gadsden, I think. And then out of nowhere, it was just like this kaboom. And I thought I got struck by lightning. It was that fucking loud. And I pull over on the side of the road. The motor completely stalled. My wheels locked up, and I was just, skidding across the road. So I pull it over to the shoulder, and Cody was he was kind of like my chase vehicle. He was in front of me, and I was following him. I immediately give him a call. I'm like, yo, something just happened. I'm on the side of the road. Come back and get me. So we're on the interstate.
Bought this 150.
Just bought it.
Damn.
And I look, and I go on the front of the car, and it's just shooting out fluids like everywhere. And I'm like, oh no. And sure as the world, I popped the hood with Cody. Motor completely blew up.
What?
Catastrophic failure. Motor completely blew up. I slung a piston straight into the oil pan, essentially. And there was a hole in the oil pan. I was like, dude, I got to go to work. And my bike is in the shop. So, I only bought that truck, even my first truck, for following and doing chase vehicle stuff for, bikes. Because I can put a bike in the bed. And I bought the F-150 because it has more space.
Yeah.
Put two bikes in there, maybe three if they're
Have
small.
an 8-foot bed? Was it an older F-150?
Yeah, it was an
Okay.
OBS
That's the
Ford
way to
brick
do
nose,
it,
dude.
dog.
So
That's how it's
Sexy.
done.
Yeah.
And I have pictures of that truck. But so that was funny because it sucked ass because the truck's at my friend's house, Matt Hart, and Cody and I, we're working on it. We have to find a motor. So I found a motor for like $250 on Facebook Marketplace and bought it. I was like, fuck it, I need it. Because crate motors are like $2,500. Easy.
$250. Shoo,
Yeah.
buddy.
So I was like, $250? Hell yeah, it's a steal of a deal. Came out of an Explorer.
Questionable.
Yeah. Came out of an Explorer. It was fine. So we got a cherry picker, pulled it out, and replaced the motor. I do not know shit about cars. So I did that with Cody.
Dude, that's very intimidating.
Yeah.
The fact that you're sitting there like, oh, we'll just swap the motor, no big deal. I'd have been like, I gotta buy another truck.
Yeah,
Did
dude.
you have? I imagine you didn't have insurance on it when you picked it up.
No, hell no.
So it blows up and it's just on you.
It's gone. Yeah. It was, that was it. So I was like, well, hell yeah, at least I have a bike. And then flash forward to April, and I'm going back and forth to Leeds. and that's when the bike was stolen. So I had started with a Tacoma and a nice Sportster. So I had like the American dream, dude, the dependable Tacoma and the dependable fucking Sportster, and then gone.
Poof.
In an instant.
Months.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
And that was like my first 2 vehicles. You know, the Sportster was my first bike, my first gasoline
You're cursed,
motor.
Man.
Yeah. And then the Tacoma I bought after
way,
that. Yeah, it sucked. And so, yeah, it took a huge morale dump because it was like, all right, well, you know, I'm going to sell my truck to, thank God, Cody's dad to buy this new Sportster because, you know, insurance only gave me $3,000. And I was like, dude, you know, I know the truck sucks. It's having issues. The new
after
motor.
y'all did the engine swap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this thing's not running like a top.
Was that black one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I remember I came to Mom's one night.
Yep.
It was one slow afternoon, and you were bartending.
Yeah.
And it was so slow. I think me and Nick were there. I don't know. It may have been me and somebody else. And I didn't even know you that well, but you were like, dude, you want to see my truck? Like,
yeah, that was it.
And I came outside and like
that was it.
We were just like looking in your.
And that was after we did the motor swap. So it had a whole lot of issues after that. No blame on anyone. It was just, you know, it's an old tired motor.
Sure.
Put into a new car. But it ran great. I had a lot of fun with it until it finally kaput. And Cody's dad, thankfully bought it when I was like, dude, I only got $3,000 for this bikes. And I bought this bike before COVID, way before COVID. So now inflation's insane.
Oh yeah.
So like, I mean, you look at any of these bikes of any of these qualities and calibers, it's like, dude, it's, you know, it's through the roof. That bike I would have sold for like $5,000, and easily now stock sporties that look like that anyway are about $5,000. And so it's like a whole lot of dudes of the I know what I got, you know, category. And so like it was hell because I thought I was gonna get a lot more from insurance. So, you know, $3,000. I was like, all right, well, I thought I was gonna get like $6,000 at least. I thought I was gonna upgrade to a shovel head, but
oh yeah,
you know, I was kind of excited about that.
$6,000 with another $2,000 in my pocket. Yeah, get you a shovel head these days.
I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna get me a shovel head. I got a little humbled because I was like, well, I'm going back to the Sportster game. So yeah, I had that money. And I came across, I sent you a picture of it, the one I've got now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Saw it in North Georgia, and I was like, okay, this is the one. It was rigid. I've never had a rigid bike. I've always wanted, you know, a hardtail bike, like a chopper, true chopper. And so I was like, okay, pull the trigger.
Yeah, you did send me some photos of what it looked like before its current version. And,
yeah.
Little wacky, some of the things they did. I think one of the first times I rode with Cody, he was showing me pictures of the bike. He's like, Tristen just picked up his bike. We trailered it back.
Yeah.
The intake was one of those breathers that comes out and shoots forward. And he called it a bird stabber. It had super sharp point on the front.
Dude. It's for jousting.
It is like seriously like a Knight's Tale jousting like tip or something.
Dude, it's great.
So you saw that and you were like, this is it. I gotta have it.
I was like, this is just shitty enough and just cheap enough that I don't think anyone else is going to buy it. So I looked at Cody and I was like, all right, man, I'm selling the truck. He's like, dude, don't do it. And I was like, I'm selling the truck. This bike's going to take a lot of money. I would know because I just did it to my last Sportster.
Yeah.
It's like going all in. Got to have all this money. So that's what I did. Sold the truck and I was like, all right, I'm hitting this guy up. And we're going to do it. And so we get there, and sure as well, he had it. Pulled up to his house. He's like the king of the woods, essentially, in North Georgia. Did not realize that North Georgia was so
I don't know if
scary.
I spent a lot of time in North Georgia.
Yeah.
Man.
A lot of rusted barbed wire everywhere.
Okay.
I didn't see any cattle, though. It's kind of scary. I was like, it's just sharp, rusted metal everywhere. So I pull up this house, this crazy house he's got, and in the backyard he had this like a little like tarp tent shed.
Tarp tent shed, sure.
Makes about enough sense.
My parents got one next to them.
Yeah, dude.
Full of chickens or something crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This was full of
meth.
motorcycle and meth. And he had like a badass big twin, and then he had the Sportster, sad little Sportster, and I looked at it, and he's like, yeah, man, you want to start it? And I was like, hell yeah, sure. So I get it, and I'm about to pull it down to at least trailer it, give him the cash in his hand, and I've got the box of just all the paperwork and shit he had for it. And as I'm shifting it, the shifter just completely snaps. And I was like, hell yeah, this is how it's going to go, dude.
Damn,
The
bro.
linkage, because it had forward controls, so the linkage just completely snapped. And I was like, well, now I'm stuck in gear. I'm not going to get this out of gear. So we pull it up on the trailer, and yeah, that's what started the journey.
I think one of the main things that I guess didn't discourage you from buying it, I was curious if we were going to get to that point, is that on the right next to like the right foot peg, there was an emblem ingrained into it, and I'll let you tell us more about that.
So when I saw it on Facebook Marketplace, I scanned down the bike, and I wanted to know what kind of frame it was. I don't necessarily like weld-on hardtail frames on the stock sporty like frames. It looks weird to me. And I remember just that. I was like, man, I don't really want it to be.
So that's what it was.
Kind of
they had
frame.
just taken like a lowbrow kit and welded it onto the second half. No,
So
okay.
the plus side was it looked like a Fly-Rite, which I guess isn't in business anymore. Fly-Rite frames or like a Paco frame. And that's what I've always wanted. It has that like really cool look to it. It's got that OEM neck style. It's got like a little, I guess, gusset or a tube support going into the backbone. And that was like, hell yeah.
A full frame that's already
Yeah,
been manufactured.
a full
They put an
frame.
Evo Sportster engine in it. Okay.
And that's what I wanted. So I looked at it and I was like, yeah, this is all the bones I need, really. So I scanned it down, had that crappy exhaust. The Amazon special was all over the bike, had that DNA Springer, which is like not very reputable. I'm not trying to dog on it, but I've heard a lot of bad things
Springer
about
front
it.
end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been told to avoid them. So it had this black Springer, it's like flat black, and I was like, man, this looks ugly. And so when I saw it on the internet, I saw right at it had forward controls. So I was like, okay, I want mids. And I was kind of scoping everything out, make sure all the brackets were there and everything was, easy to kind of relocate. And when I looked by the exhaust, I could see, little dots. And I was like, there's no fucking way that's what that is. No way.
Oh, he posted this on the ad. Okay, didn't shy away from it at all.
Didn't
That's
shy
a
away
selling
from it at all.
point.
Yeah.
It's like close-ups, zoom-ins.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
North Georgia chopper. He had a big old swastika on the sprocket cover. I was like, I hope to God this is painted on. I hope to God it's painted on. So I get there in person, and me and Cody already like had the elephant in the room, and we get up to the bike, and because in pictures you can't like move around and look at it, so we're scoping it down in person. We cut it on, and it's running fine. And I look down by the exhaust, and sure as world, it's a big old swastika dremeled into the actual sprocket cover. So it's drilled all the way through.
Drilled all the way through.
All the way
Stainless
through.
steel. That's
Yeah.
what you were saying when we
Yeah.
went through. Take a smoke break. Yeah.
So I was like, fuck, this is pretty fucking
That's
crude.
gnarly. Yeah, dude.
Pretty crude. So, I was like, all right, we'll figure out how to make it work. But that was kind of the first leg off on the journey of this new bike. I was like, all right, let's rewrite the mistakes. So it is still on the bike.
But as
was
far as
covered.
the engine goes and all that stuff, nothing deterred you.
No.
The way
Yeah.
It was okay.
It was funny because, I got it back to the house and couldn't ride it unless it was in first. And so had no way of shifting it. Had these dumb, sharp ape hangers on it. And and forward controls. So I'm just sitting on the bike, kind of like starfished.
Yeah.
And my first ride to take it to Loaf's, I remember I was I was going through that intersection right there on I forget what road that is, 3rd, where the Chevron's to your left, and then Avondale Common
Yeah,
House. But I was
yeah.
going to that
41st or whatever. Yeah.
So I was going on that intersection to then take a left by Avondale to get on to 41st. And there's two of my good buddies They just were riding bicycles. They're like, dude, this is the new bike, bro. It looks sick.
No,
and I was like, don't look at me.
Erase this
don't
image.
look at me.
Yeah.
Do not look at me. Do not look at the bike. Don't. It's stupid. So, I to cover up the hate symbol, and I mean, dude, it was crude. Like, he ran out of space. So, I'm not gonna be like, yeah, that looks good. But if you're gonna do something like that, it makes at least make
like the
it
lines
look,
weren't even straight.
dude. It was
there was no
crooked.
template. He just took a drill.
It's
and
like a 10-year-old with a spray paint can.
Yeah,
on
dude.
An abandoned building.
He didn't get enough practice on the spray paint
enough
can.
practice,
and so he's like, oh, I kind of remember what a swastika looks like, but it was just, dude, it looks so stupid, and I was like, man.
But he had
fucking idiot.
drilled it into the stainless steel. So
Yeah.
it's like, damn, that's crazy.
Wore out drill bits just to do a stupid swastika, and I was like, all right. So I actually took the first sticker I could think of, which was a Sanctum sticker. It was the badass circle with the tiger, and it's like all neon and stuff. And I was like, this is a very fitting sticker. So I took it there, and Loaf was like, okay. Because I was like, Loaf, I'm working right now. I don't have the time. But I gave him a whole pile of parts, and I was like, just give it a once over, and then kind of get it, put some parts on there for me, and then once you hit that point, I'll start working on it next. It's just way too much to hit all at once. So Loaf cut me a good deal, put a new front end on it, put some new handlebars, courtesy of Nick Resty, gave me some really cool parts on it. And
dude, that tank is awesome, man.
Yeah.
I love, take some inspiration from him. Zach just put a tank on his bike, and I'm just ready for him to get it rolling. He was like, yeah, we got to get it painted. And I'm like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
My buddy Tristen has an awesome tank that he hasn't painted, and it looks great. Like, I love that raw steel, kind of slow rust look, Like, I was like, that's pretty sick. I don't know what style your tank would be considered. But it was like this cool, like, teardrop sort of oval, dual input. Is it a split tank? Or is
No.
it one? It's just one.
It's just one. It's one solid tank, and it's funny that you're asking about the style, because that's a banana wassail. So those are the tanks that were actually on my old sports or Triumph.
Okay.
It's a big chopper thing. People would take Triumph tanks all the time and put them on their choppers. But this is a banana wassail. It's a little bit longer. Banana wassail. Get them at Lowbrow Customs. They got some.
Looks good,
badass
man.
ones over there.
Flows with the lines and stuff.
And that was Zach. Zach gave it to me. He's like, "Hey man, pay it forward," and just showed up on my front porch one day, dropped it off, and I woke up, walked on the front porch, and it was like Santa Claus, Chopper Santa Claus. He just
Santa Claus visit.
dropped off this cool tank.
He doesn't come often, but when he does,
dude, it feels so good. And it was really cool because when my bike was stolen, I didn't do a GoFundMe. I was hurting at the time, no vehicle at all. I was back to Arab Harry Potter all over again. So I was like, fuck, this sucks. I'm starting from scratch all over again. So that was really cool. It was really nice. And that's how it was at the shop. Like, when my bike was stolen, it was like everyone kind of got together, and it was like Nick cut me a whole lot of deals and helped me out. Derek. Then you had, like Zach, Dwayne, all the guys kind of got together, and it was a big familial, like, I guess that's the word, familial?
Mm-hmm.
Familia.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dude, it was really cool, because growing up without family, that was like, oh man, this is what it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously I have that everywhere else, but these are like my big brothers, and I do have big brothers, and I love my brothers to death. They help raise me, but like these guys, they help me tinker and wrench. I got a lot of inspiration out of them. So these guys, like, they all helped me out. It was a big blessing. So with this bike now, it's almost like it's a group funded event. It's whatever cool parts they got and all that stuff. With it being a chopper, they actually have the parts for it. Mm-hmm. For the Sportster, I didn't have that, because swing on parts are swing on parts, and it's everything has to be to that bike. You can't really do that stuff with those. I mean, you can, but it's hard, and it kind of looks tacky, to put it in layman's terms. Like, it's not the way to do it. And that kind of was the chopper function I was talking about at the very beginning.
Yeah, a lot of bolt-on stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, I need a sissy bar. I just bolt it onto my swing arm, and I mean, that's kind of the going back to like talking about the bike, and you made a reference earlier, which now that I want to talk about it, I've forgotten. I'm gonna edit this part out. what was it? You said something earlier that I was like, that's so true. It's exactly
No idea.
something about like it'll come to me. Anyways,
It better.
let that go.
We'll derail it again.
But like, yeah, trying to find parts for mine without being like too over the top.
Yeah.
There is an element of like, okay, I don't want to just have some like cheap bolt-on sissy bar or something like that. But
He was talking about a lot of dumb things, and you were like, yes, I have a lot of dumb things to talk about.
man, I wish I could remember what it was. I'll go back and edit this, and I'll be like, that was it. That was the point I wanted to make.
We'll get there. Like when at this point, editing is a
But yeah,
beautiful tool.
I popped it again. I've got a swing arm. Oh no, it was the you were talking about. You always wanted to have a birth year bike.
Yeah.
So
That's it.
That was it. So my bike, it's my first Harley, and shout out to Loaf. He got it going for me and stuff. And it's actually an 88 year bike. That's the year that it was stamped as, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, if you look it up online, it's an 88 Softail Custom. So with it being a swing arm, basically what was so cool about Cody's bike, the first time I saw his, throughout the 90s, from like the late 80s to the early 90s, all the way into 2000s, I don't know how far, I'm not a historian, but the frame didn't really change much. And like his frame is almost identical to mine.
Yeah.
But if you look at his, it looks like a hardtail chopper, but he actually kept it swing arm.
Yep.
Which was so cool to me because you don't see a lot of dudes doing that or taking the time to do it because it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, 100%.
And I know he bought that bike and he did some work himself, but like with the seat and everything, like the sissy bar swings with the rear tire.
Yep.
And it just looks so rad, and it gave me a lot of inspiration about my bike.
Yeah.
And so it was an 88 year registered bike, I guess. But if you look at this, the little original tag that's on it, it actually rolled off the line in 87, November of 87. And I was born in October of 87. So that bike came off Harley's line literally with like within 3 weeks of me being born.
That's
and
sick.
So I have technically that bike was built the same within 3 weeks. That bike came off the line the year I was born, and that was the point I wanted to make. So I'm glad I remembered it because you were just like, I wanted to have a birth year bike, and I was like, dude, this is mine, and it's my first Harley, which is really cool. So
well, it feels meant to be, you know.
Yeah,
and I mean like,
which no shade on anybody that's riding a Vulcan Kawasaki by chance, or the Shadows, man. Yeah. Like
2 wheels or 2 wheels.
2 wheels or 2 wheels.
I love I want as many of my friends to be a part of this kind of, you know. I've been doing bikes for a long time. I'm not going to say I'm like a big part of a community by any means, but it's like, I mean, there's a lot of support and a lot of cool stuff you can get through motorcycles. And
I've never been. I kind of relate to you in the fact that I was never into. Oh, hello, where are you?
She's right here. She just wants to be picked up. But I will not pick her up.
All right, my dog is joining the podcast. I relate to you in the fact that like I was never very much into cars either. You know, it just never appealed to me when I was in high school. Even getting my driver's license and stuff, it's like all my buddies and stuff. It's like they transitioned from skateboards to cars. Like everybody was like, oh, let's get into hot rods and racing and like the whole scene with like imported cars and you know the Chase Bay crowd. You know, no disrespect to Chase Bay, those dudes, but like. They just never appealed to me, for whatever reason. And then fast forward to the present, it's like suddenly like engines are cool, but it's only because of 2 wheels and like getting into like motorcycles and stuff.
And I mean, historically, motorcycles have such cool history with it. Yeah. I mean, they started out as bicycles with motors, and it was for like military, post-service, stuff like that. I mean,
the
avoiding the wars.
Stuff. Yeah. Man, there's a looping video that they have at Barber Motorsports. If you go to their museum and you sit in their theater, they have like a 15-minute video. I know because we programmed a lot of the automation controls.
I know all about it.
They talk about like flat track racing and where they built the boards and all that stuff and early Harleys with no brakes and just all the rad history that's there. It's really cool, man. You can really go down a rabbit hole,
I mean, looking more and more into like motorcycles and hearing so much from Nick, because like, dude, Nick Resty will sit there and he will talk to you about the history.
Dude, yeah, he's like
and he is such a nerd about it.
He's such a nerd about it, yeah.
And I mean, that's cool. That's really cool, because I mean, like, I never had that. I can go up there and I can talk shop about some Pokemon or some dinosaurs, or some cryptids or ghost stories.
Yeah, my thing is skateboarding. Like I know my realm in skateboarding, but when it comes to like engines and stuff, it's like I'm very novice, you know. And even today, it's like, dude, you know, if I broke down somewhere, it's like I hope I could fix it. Maybe I could figure out what it was, but it's a good chance I probably wouldn't. I'd
Dude, you
call
can
somebody.
Just hit us up.
Just come help me.
We'll be there. We'll figure it out together. That's the best part about it. It's figuring it out together.
So any other major changes to the bike once you got it in hand? Your Sportster that you're currently riding, and we talked about the tank a little bit. And obviously covered up the hate speech you had, you know, drilled into the side of it. But any other plans or anything like that?
So right now it's going to be, you know, me and Nick are actually getting together. He's helped me out a lot with the fabrication, and Garrett Millsap. If you know Garrett,
shout out Garrett. Yeah, he's cool. Dude.
Caffeine and Gasoline on Instagram. Awesome dude. Love Garrett. Sweetest dude ever. He did a bunch of fab work and put some old like, I don't know if it was like panhead clamps to mount the exhaust. So my new thing now is the old Sportster I had was like 95. It wasn't trying to be anything else but a 95 Sportster that was just, you know, decked out. This one I'm like, hell yeah, I want to get as many old parts as I can on it. So like Nick gave me that set of handlebars and risers that are obviously way high, you know, older than the bike. And, you know, I have like a trailer fender from an old Ford that has a rib down the center. So I'm going to get that. And Nick got that for me.
So that's not on yet, or is that
not on yet?
It's not on yet, okay.
So we have to figure it out. Nick was like, hey, let me help you out. Let me get some cool stuff to put onto it. So soon it's going to look real cool. Maybe I'll have pictures of it by the time, you know, everything's out. But like, you know, it's I want to put a bunch of really cool stuff that I like on it, which I guess is all about, you know, choppers in the first place, is you can put stuff that you like on it just because it's I think my bike's a 93 or maybe a 92. I don't even know. But, you know, putting all the cool stuff that you like on it to make it, you know, your own. So it's going to have a bunch of really cool, dumb stuff on it. Going to have that ribbed trailer fender, but Nick gave it to me, and it's black, but it has these like little rust spots in it, and it's like a flat black. So that's why I'm actually letting the tank patina. So I'm gonna paint match it, and then once it gets ready, I'm gonna strip it all down in the wintertime, and then actually paint it with it's called Roth rattle can metal flake. So
okay, that's maybe what you need to look into, because he's got a raw tank that I just wanted to put on and ride. He's like, no, we need to get it painted and stuff. And
just paint it. Just be done with it.
Just paint it, be done with it. But I know especially with a gas tank, it's like, correct me if I'm wrong, you got to use the right type of paint, because otherwise, I mean, if you use spray paint or something, gasoline gets on it, it's going to make it run and all that stuff.
It will.
And even, I feel like the first round with that Vulcan, when I had it, we did, we took it to some dude that did quote unquote powder coating. But I don't think he did it right, or it didn't bond right.
Yeah.
And it was running off. Anytime gasoline got on the tank, it would create these like run streaks and stuff with the powder coat.
Yeah.
And so I think the second time we did it, the second dude had to like strip it down again, sandblast or something, and then re-powder coat it.
Christ.
Which I don't know anything about powder coating, but I understand it's like you charge it some way and then put it in there and like.
We know Pablo over in Trussville. I just let him do it. Yeah. Be done with it.
So.
I mean, you also have Solvent Division, Jay.
Dude, yeah, I follow him on Instagram. I've not met him personally, but his work is really cool. I know he did stuff for Nick's bike with the Born Free 14.
Yep.
And
he had that badass Sporty that he painted. It was like purple.
Dude, it's like just so meticulous. I'm afraid that if I were to get something painted like that, I would just scratch it like immediately. Like.
Makes it chopper.
Dude, if you look at my bike, it's all dented up and shitty and scratched and everything. It's like I almost like it that way because then I don't feel bad.
Yeah.
I like fuck it up or do something stupid.
And that segues into what I'm doing with the bike now is, you know, like rust and stuff like that. Everything on the old bike was chrome. Yeah. I wanted it all to be chrome. I wanted it to be clean and shiny. This one I'm like, dude, it's a trip bike. I bought this bike to be dependable.
Yeah.
So it's
now,
like,
hey, that leads me to a good point. The last time I went and rode with you, you mentioned like a tiny, like a high pitched,
Oh yeah.
tinging noise, and is that still like a problem
all the time?
You're worried about, or you just like not trying to run it hard or something, or what? Or what is
right
that?
now? I'm just seeing what happens.
But what could it be?
I have no clue. It's
you had to listen hard. You were like, there's like a high pitched like metal like ting, 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 ting.
So I mean, Sportsters are not they're no strangers to weird noises. You'll hear everybody. It's like they work on Sportsters. They're like, man, every Sportster's got its own personality. Which I'm like, fuck that. It all needs to work. It needs to work. It needs to be normal. But I mean, that depending on what you do to it, and you bastardize it, and you change exhaust, it changes the whole thing.
The whole thing.
So yeah, I mean, they do have their own personality. It's just what you do to it. You have to kind of pay attention to what you're doing. So because I had that bird deflector, and I was trying to run that. I don't know exactly what the noise is. I've been told it's like a lifter tick. I've also been told it could be from running lean. Still figuring it out. And I was taking it to the shop because right now it only wants to go like 70 miles per hour maximum. So it's like, I'm running into all these different problems with it. Is
that the max speed of a typical Sportster? What is the max speed?
I would say like 130.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you can get some to go pretty fast. I mean, 130 is also like...
Why do you need to go 130?
Exactly.
Exactly.
I think the Speedos go to like 120. Yeah. And they have no problem going like 100 miles plus.
But you get yours up 65, 70, it tops out.
Dude, yeah. It's down a hill, I'm going 70, So there's something wrong with it. So that was, I spent all day Friday just giving it there, or, giving the keys to like Nick and Robbie and Ape Knuckles and being like, what the hell's going on? And I think we finally kind of figured it out. They didn't say anything about the tick, so if they don't say anything about the tick, I'm not going to say anything about the tick.
Well, I barely heard it. I mean, you were like, listen, just listen.
And that's the thing,
and I'm like, bro, I'm straining. I don't think I hear it. But
well, you ride it, you get in tune with it.
You know it better than anybody, sure.
And that's a cool thing about it too. It's how many ways can I polish up a turd and actually fall in love with it?
Yeah.
So that's like where I'm at with this bike now, and I actually do enjoy it now. But it's nothing like my old bike. My old bike was like I knew it. It was a top. Never had any problems. And this one's giving me all the problems that I never had with my first one. So it's cool. It's a learning experience. I don't necessarily want to be well versed in Sportsters for the rest of my life, even though I have a Sportster tattoo. Maybe I should.
Well, it's your first bike,
Yeah.
I mean, like,
and
you should know it well.
Yeah. So that's like, I mean, this is, I know
Did you know
a good
the mileage when you picked it up? Like
exempt.
On the engine? Okay.
Exempt.
So no
Every
idea.
bike I've ever owned, exempt mileage. I've never paid attention to the mileage.
Okay.
And I mean, yeah, Sportsters usually need like a transmission, or at least like a rebuild right around 15 to like 30,000 miles. So I'm sure she's knocking at the door. It could be something like that, but it's just, you never know until it happens, until you get that breakdown and you're like, oh shit, that's what it was.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah. And I mean, being responsible, no one should really necessarily do that. We'll probably figure it out soon. So the mystery of the ticking noise will be settled.
Mystery remains. Well,
it'll be settled very soon.
Well, dude, your bike looks awesome, and it's always cool to chat motorcycles and stuff and hear about how you got into bikes and stuff.
Yeah.
So, Tristen, thanks for coming to hang out, man.
Yeah, dude.
And
Absolutely.
with us, and hope this was fun.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah,
love
it's
it.
great.
So.
I love it. I mean, this is it's my thing. It's my bread and butter. Love talking about motorcycles, looking at
well, dude, yeah, you
stuff.
were like the last time I hung out with you. It was just like you were just rattling off all the stuff. I was like, wow, you know a ton.
Yeah,
way more than I do, obviously. So
it's all fake it till you make it.
Well, I'm faking it hard. So, well, thanks for coming, man.
Yeah, dude, absolutely.